All right, so quick rundown of my CRNA grad school admission stats or whatever. First degree, bachelor's degree, biology, pre-med, GPA, not very good, 2.4. I finished that in 2008. Took a year off, 2009, went back to nursing school at a community college, got an associate degree. GPA in May 2011, upon finishing my associate degree, was 2.97. Immediately after finishing that, I applied to start my bachelor's degree online and finished that in about, I started that August of 2011. I finished that December of 2014, so just a little over 3 years. But I had a kid, took a semester off, whatever. As soon as I finished my associate degree in 2011, I started working at a level 1 trauma university, academic medical center, whatever, in the medicine ICU. Immediately. That was first job I took. I was there, till eternity, apparently. So BSN, got online. My GPA post BSN was 3.3. Okay. Immediately applied for my master's. In applying for my master's, I had to do my CCRN. I had already taken TNCC. And so my resume was already starting to look pretty impressive, starting to really build. I'd been on some committees, things like that. I was a member of some of the nursing associations and some other stuff, especially like the Association of Critical Care Nurses or whatever. Anyways, so I got in first time, which other people hadn't, so who knew? But my GPA and my BSN was 3.3. So August of 2015, started taking master's courses. It was a 4-year part-time program. I finished May of 2019 with a 3.7 GPA. That was the first time that I really felt proud of my GPA. Put in a lot of work, worked really hard, whatever. At that point, when I graduated with my master's, I had been an ICU nurse at the same level 1 trauma center, most of the time in the same unit for 8 years. Okay. So I had really high yield experience. My GPA for my master's was good. And I think that it showed that I was working towards improving. Now, I got rejected from the same school 2 separate years. And they never could give me a reason why, other than don't hang your hat on us being your only road to success, So I worked night shift for 5 years as an ICU nurse practitioner. And I think the only thing that changed anything for me was making sure my resume didn't just tell that I'd been an ICU nurse or that I'd been an ICU prac, but specifically going through and detailing what I frequently did. So, sorry. I just had to be really intentional about what I put on my resume, what I was capable of, like just so that when people were reviewing my resume, they didn't say, oh, she's been away from the bedside. I also looked and read the mission statement for the programs that I was applying to. Okay. I grew up in the town where I go to school. I don't live there anymore. I've not lived there in 22 years, but that's where I'm going back to school. I actually said I'd never go there, but here we are. But I made sure to read the mission statement of the college and then also of the nursing school. And I made sure that my personal statement touched on important points. Obviously, growing up in the area, I had a little more heartfelt sentiment that I could pull at and utilize to my own needs. But I felt like it was really important to understand what their mission statement was and incorporate that in why I should be allowed in the school. Now, is that kind of manipulative? Maybe. But if you read the mission statement of a school and you absolutely didn't agree with any of it, are you going to want to spend the next 3 years and, $100,000 on education alone, going to that school? Probably not, right? So I feel like it was an important thing, and I feel like it really kind of filled in some gaps that maybe I was missing from other things. Now, I also made sure in my personal statement to touch those points about like why my GPA for my first bachelor's degree was poor, why I'd struggled and all these things, because I feel like if you can talk about your weaknesses and tell them how you've learned from them, they can't use them against you as weaknesses, right? That I actually said to them at one point, they said, we see that you've had a lot of education and that, you've had some some trials, some obstacles. Like, what do you think makes you a good candidate for this program? And I said, honestly, if 36-year-old Sarah could go back and kick 19-year-old Sarah in the pants and tell her to get her life together instead of screwing around, I would do it all day, every day. Because I know now that I've always had the capability, but never the mindset or the motivation. And now, as an adult with other people that depend on me, I know that like it's my one shot, my one opportunity to be everything I ever wanted to be, right? Mom spaghetti and whatnot. And so I felt like making my personal statement identify those flaws opened the door for them to ask me about them, but to let me tell my story, right? So then I'm a person that just had some hard stuff. I'm not just some numbers on a piece of paper. So, my GPA wasn't always the greatest. That's the moral of the story. And I'm still in CRNA school. Is it hard? Yes, all day, every day. Is there other programs that might have been easier? Sure, but I didn't get in there, right? It's not the cards I was dealt. And as much complaints as I've had with every level of nursing education that I've been in, I'm just glad that I'm here and that we've got 14 months until we're not here anymore. So anyways, I hope this helps. Feel free to ask questions, message me, whatever. Just want everybody to know you don't have to be a perfect 23-year-old with a 4.0 GPA to do what you want to do. All right, guys. See ya.